Hi there, it's September the 29th, and today we're beginning a new section in the Greek scriptures, and this is Paul's letter to the Philippians. Now, Paul's letter to the Philippians is written to them when he's in prison. It's not certain where he was, but it's most likely that he is in Rome, in prison towards the end of his life, in the early 60s, because he refers to the Imperial Guard, the Praetorian, at one point. It's written to the believers in Philippi. Philippi is in Macedonia, in the north of Greece, in the northeast corner of Greece on the coast. And Philippi was actually the first church that Paul established, the first community of Christian believers that Paul established on the European mainland in Greece. He went from Asia Minor, across to Philippi, and when he arrived there in this Roman colony, he met with Lydia, the purple seller, by the river, and that's how that church began. And so he's writing to people who are very high in his affection. This is a very affectionate letter. Paul speaks very highly of these people. And in fact, the chances are, is most likely that Epaphroditus, who he refers to in this letter, has actually come with a gift of money and support from the Macedonian believers. We remember actually that when Paul is writing to the Corinthians, he commends the Macedonians to them for their generosity. And it looks as though they're continuing to support Paul here as he is in this difficult situation. And so Paul opens up his letter, this letter in chapter 1, and by the way, we're reading from verses 1 to 26 in this chapter 1, and he opens up this letter with thanksgiving. It's from Paul and also from Timothy, who, remember, is his co-worker, who he met on his journeys in Asia Minor and has become something of a son to him. So Paul is Timothy's mentor. Paul's not writing just off his own bat, but he says this letter is coming in both their names. He's writing to the Christians in Philippi, also to their leaders, to their office bearers, to their overseers, and he wants to thank God for every memory of them. He's very warm in his affection towards them. And he says that you are working with me. You have me in your hearts. Even though I'm in prison, you are partners with me. And that's referring to probably the support that he's been receiving from them. And he's praying that their love will overflow more and more as they increase in their faith, and that the knowledge of God will deepen. And Paul then actually talks about what he's been doing, that he's seeking to share the good news about Jesus, where even though he's in prison, he's looking to do this with boldness. He's looking to continue to share, even among the guard, or the Imperial Guard. He wants to let people know, even though he's in prison, that Jesus is Lord, and that there's something here that is worth announcing, is worth speaking about, even if it's going to cost him his life. Paul is perhaps aware here of the dire situation he's in. If this is in Rome, then he's obviously coming to the point where he's appearing before Caesar, and the impact upon him of that it could be a life or death judgment. But Paul says, actually, I'm ready. If I live, I'm living for you. I'm living to serve you. He in fact says those famous words that for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. And he says, if I stay here, I'm living for Jesus. Jesus is the key. Jesus is the one I'm focused on. If I die, I'm going to be with him, which is far better, he says. He has a real sense of the future, of a hope, of a place in Jesus' presence with him. And Paul is not afraid to die. He actually says he's pulled in both directions. He must have been in really dire situation in prison. He says he's pulled. He wants to be with them, but also he wants to be with the Lord. But he knows that he's going to be faithful to proclaiming Jesus, and he wants people to know that he's doing this not for a desire to get gain for himself, but so that he may know that others may know that Jesus is Lord. It's really important to see that Paul is not afraid of death here. He's not afraid of the end of his life. He sees his race being run elsewhere, he says, but here he is prepared and ready to be in the presence of Jesus. we can be sure that whether we are in life or whether we are beyond life with Jesus in the life beyond, that we are going to be held in his love. So to live now is to live for him. To die is going to be with him. In both places there is hope. Have a very good September 29th.